I got the job and it was amazing.
How many years were you there?
I was probably there for a year and a half.
Okay.
But then the graduation thing, what had happened is I had...
What? Hold up. Whenever you hear someone say what had happened was,
Yeah,
you know it's going to be a story.
I don't got it all planned out, but you know, I just watch it all pan out, 'cause I know that you know, covered in this life until forever.
Jen Meyer, welcome to the Cool Mom Code podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I will just going to say to all of our listeners and viewers, we have a little bit of a knocking happening behind us. So if you do hear knocking, someone is building a set or something really cool in Hollywood right behind us, and we're just going to go with it.
Exactly.
Because we cannot wait. I want to talk to Jen. Look, this is interesting because I feel like I know your sisters better than I know you.
Yeah.
But there are so many of you. There are 4 siblings altogether.
There are 4 siblings.
3 girls, 1 boy.
Exactly.
Which I feel like is, your sisters are all super cool.
Yeah.
They are all like the girls of the family, I feel like run the family, because your mom is a very powerful woman too. She's like super involved with her kids. She's like everything. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. All these things. You guys are all pretty close.
My sister Sarah and I are very close in age. And then there's a big jump. There's like a 16-year jump between me and Carson.
16 between you and Carson?
Yeah.
Wow. But I didn't know that.
Yeah. But she is, listen, my sister Sarah has 3 kids. She has Roe Caviar, so her caviar company. My sister Carson, she has her baby. They live in North Carolina. She's incredible. She's a doula.
Yes.
And she has a company called Sea and the Moon. It's the most amazing body scrub.
It really is.
Body oil. It's insane.
It really is.
It's like my skin is so soft because
so
of it.
Soft.
It's crazy. And then we have a younger brother, Eli, who's just perfect and adorable. But
I love this.
I really don't know what I would do without them.
Where do you think the drive for entrepreneurship came from for all the kids?
I mean, my whole family always worked, but my dad was always working his ass off and always saying, like, listen, like, everything I have is mine. Like, you guys got to work. You can always live at my house. You don't have to pay rent. You can eat my food. You can do whatever you want. But if you want to live on your own, if you want to go out and hang out with your friends, you want to do things, like, I got to see that you're working and really creating a life for yourself and a career for yourself. And I'm always happy to help you if I know you're helping yourself.
Wow.
So I think that from a young age, we just always had jobs and always worked really hard.
You always knew that you had to bring something to the table.
No matter what.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's pretty profound.
There wasn't an option in our family.
Do you think that was different from how you saw some of your peers being raised?
Yeah, for sure. But it was the best thing that our parents could have done for us. It was like summertime was not like go to the beach and hang out for 3 months. It was like, you can go hang out, but after you go to your job. Like, what's your job?
Really? Okay, so how does that create any disdain or any sort of turmoil within like the structure of parent and child in the house? Because when you're seeing your peers basically hang out and do exactly that and you can't, is that weird? A weird dynamic?
If we had like argued with our parents about that, they would have been like, the argument would have been over the moment the argument came out of my mouth. It wasn't even a discussion.
There was no question.
There was no question.
And you as the oldest, what was like your first job?
My first job was over the summer. I was 14 years old, and at my dad's work, I was sort of like,
the intern?
An intern, sure. Scooping ice creams on Fridays for everybody, dropping off mail, picking up mail, like getting your feet wet, doing what you could. And then the summer after that was working as a sales girl at a really cool, a place that sold clothing. Amazing little place on Robertson. And then I was a PA on a few movies, which was awesome. But, that's literally, you're the first one there at crack of dawn.
Yeah,
you're
you
the
are.
last one to leave. You're getting coffee for people.
Yeah.
And doing whatever needs to happen.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
So those were my jobs sort of up until college.
What did
and
you
then-
want to do? Like, what was your ideal job, especially growing up in LA, Hollywood, being in the business, like being a very close part of like all these things? What did you want to do?
I always wanted to be in fashion. And coming out of college, I sort of like bullshitted my way into a really good job somehow. I always say, just like, if you can get in the door, however you can get in the door, then you can do whatever you need to do once you're in the door.
Yeah.
And I had lied about graduating college,
You did not.
which was a whole other problem.
Wait a minute, but how do you even get away with that? Like, how do you lie about graduating college? What is that?
So I went to Syracuse.
Uh-huh.
And I did 3 full years there. And then my senior year, I came back to Los Angeles. And I went to Santa Monica City College and UCLA Extension.
Yeah.
I did both of them to like make up my credits. And Syracuse, when you have a certain amount of credits to make up, they let you walk.
Okay.
They don't give you a diploma, but they let you have the experience of having your graduation. I don't think I've ever really told this story.
You heard it here first.
And so because I was showing them that I was at school making up the credits, quote unquote.
Right.
So my whole family goes to Syracuse to watch me walk. I mean, like 12 people flew up there.
That's a big deal.
That was a big deal.
Family didn't know?
No. They just thought I had finished my credits. So I finish I quote unquote tell them, great, I've graduated. I go to graduation. My whole family is there. It's a big deal. I'm the first person in my whole family to graduate college. So like, I'm not going to tell them I didn't graduate college.
Of course.
And I come home. Everything is great. It was like 4 weeks after quote unquote graduation. And I'll never forget, my dad called me and he said, "What's your plan?" And I said, "I don't know. I've just been at college for 4 years. I think I'm going to take a little time off and figure out what I want to do." And he said, "You're going to what?" And I said, "I'm going to take a little time off." And he said, "From what?" I said, "College." He goes, "A little time off of literally living for 4 years, like getting your whole life paid for and going to school? No. He said, "Here's the deal." He said, "You have 2 more weeks of vacation. And in those 2 weeks, you better find a job."
Wow.
He said, "And if you don't find a job, I will give you not 1 penny. You can live with me. You can eat my food. You don't have to pay 1 dime. You can live with me for the rest of your life and not pay any rent. I don't care. You can eat my food, whatever. But I'm not going to give you $5 to go to lunch with your friends, to go to the movies, for a car, for gas. You get nothing from me. 0. He goes, "If you find a job, we can then start talking about how I can help you get on your feet."
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
But other than that, you're on your own. I was hysterically crying. "I know, 2 weeks." He goes, 2 weeks. He goes, "I don't care if you find your dream job. I don't care if you're a waitress.
That's right. Something.
Whatever you're doing, I'm not asking you how much money you're making. I just want to know you're going to a job every single fucking day." He was pissed, right? I was thinking, oh, he's going to be real pissed if he ever finds out I lied about graduating. So,
Did he ever find out?
oh, that was a whole other conversation. Oh, yes, he did find out. So I start calling everybody. I need a job. I need a job. My girlfriend says to me, "I have to go to the Toronto Film Festival. You can come as my assistant. It's for 10 days.
Okay.
And it's $500 in cash. I'll just give you $500. This is 23 years ago. I mean, I don't even know how long.
Right.
No, 25 years ago at this point. Oh my God. I don't know. So many years ago.
Look,
And-
don't even come up with dates. Just
Forget
okay.
it. Let's
Yes.
let that go away.
It
So
was a
she
while
says
ago.
to me, this is 20 years ago,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is 10 years ago.
Yeah. This was yesterday.
So she says to me, "You come for 10 days, I'll give you $500 in cash," right?
Okay.
And I was like, $500 in cash? And she's like, "Yes, you can stay in my hotel room. They give us food every day. You really won't have to pay for anything." I was like, amazing. perfect. 10 days to like add on to my 2 weeks. I'm thinking this is perfect. I now have more time to figure it out. I have a little bit of money. I'll be out of town. I won't be spending any money. Great. Tell my dad I got this. He goes, great. Well, great. 10 more days. Right. That's not very long.
Yes.
Go find a fucking job. Basically. Right. So while I'm there with her in the Toronto Film Festival, she's on the phone with the editor-in-chief of Glamour magazine. Okay? 22 years old. She's on the phone, this woman, Bonnie Fuller. And Bonnie Fuller at the time was looking for a West Coast beauty fitness editor of Glamour magazine. And she's going through names. And I was like, say me, say me. She's like, girl, you don't have any experience. You've never written one thing in your life. You've never worked for a magazine. I can't suggest you. I was like, get me in the room. Just get me in the room. Okay? So she's like, I have this girl, Jennifer Meyer. She's cute. She just graduated Syracuse. She's like an LA girl. She knows LA really well. She would love to come meet with you. The woman said yes, the editor-in-chief of Glamour magazine. Okay?
Get the fuck out of here.
I had to call my dad and say, listen, please help me with the ticket to New York. I just got an interview at Glamour magazine. He was like, here's the deal. I will help you with the ticket to New York, but the return flight is the next day. He's like, you aren't hanging out in New York with your friends. You're not running around the city pretending like, you know.
Yeah, this is a vacation.
This is a vacation. He's like, you go in for your interview, you come right home.
Right.
Great. I go into the interview. At the time, the internet was, you couldn't really Google anybody.
Right.
So I lied on my resume.
So she didn't know
that I had graduated. I don't know what else I said on my resume. God only knows. Thank you for the job, Bonnie Fuller. And I go to the interview. I come home, and I hadn't heard anything. And a week later, I got a call, and I got the job.
No way.
West Coast beauty fitness editor of Glamour magazine. But I went in there and I was like, listen, I was very honest. I was like, listen, I have no experience. It is very clear I have no experience. But I've been working my whole life. I've been around people my whole life. If you want to hire somebody who knows what is cool in LA, who knows everybody, who's got their finger on the pulse, I'm like, hire me. I'm like, just hire me. I will not negotiate my salary. I was like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was 22, just like I had been making, $10 an hour working at a clothing store.
Wow.
So
whatever you give me, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm going to figure it out. I got the job and it was amazing.
How many years were you there?
I was probably there for a year and a half.
Okay.
But then the graduation thing, what had happened is I had...
What? Hold up. Whenever you hear someone say what had happened was, you know it's going to be a story.
Part of that, the deal was I found a roommate. I got an apartment. My dad at that point was like, I'm so proud of you. You've graduated. You have an incredible job. Like, you've really figured it all out at such a young age. Like, this is amazing. I will help you with... it was a tiny little apartment in West Hollywood with my best friend from high school. He's amazing. He's still one of my best friends in the entire world. We had this like great little place. It was so cute, so inexpensive, like perfect. Moved in, amazing, great. Have my job, have my first little apartment. Everything is wonderful. And my dad had gotten a call from Syracuse. They wanted him to come speak there to the business school or whatever. And he said, yeah, of course, I'll come speak. And they said, and if your daughter needs any help or guidance on how to finish her credits to graduate, we're always happy to be helpful. And he said, no. The whole family just went there. She graduated. She got her diploma.
It was great.
They handed me an envelope. It was just open. It was just empty.
Shut up.
And my dad was like, no, it's all good. And he said, no. We didn't hand her an actual diploma. She hasn't finished. He's like, I don't understand how that works. Oh, we let her walk, blah, 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 blah. That call was a bad call. Because I had already signed my lease or my rent, whatever.
Yes.
I already had a job.
Everything was set.
Everything was set. He He was not happy, let's just say. It all worked out.
Wow.
It all worked out.
Wow. You were the rebel.
I just sort of, but my sister Carson and Sarah, they graduated. Good for them. Proud of them.
Because they learned.
They learned not to mess around.
Exactly. You always learn from the oldest.
You do. And that was my first job. And then I went into I worked in fashion at Giorgio Armani doing celebrity PR. And then I did that at Ralph Lauren. And then when I was working at Ralph Lauren, I was dating my boyfriend who then became my husband, but he said something really interesting to me. He was like, I was like, there's something else I want to do. I can't figure it out. And he said, the truth is like, we all have a dream. And so many of us are scared to say what our actual dream is because we think we didn't go to school for it. We didn't study it. We don't have the money for it. We don't know. We don't want to say it out loud. I was like, I don't know. And he goes, what's your dream? Is it, do you want to be an actress? Do you want to be a writer? Do you want to work for NASA? Like, do you want to design clothing? What do you want to do?
Right.
What is like, you want to be a doctor? Like, you have all the time in the world. Like, what is your dream? And I said, I really want to design jewelry. Like, my grandmother was an artist, and he's like, that's what you want to do? And I said, yeah. And he said, that doesn't seem too difficult. I was like, well, I have no clue. No clue where to start. No clue how to do it. I have no idea. And he said, there's like a Star Wars quote. It's like, do or do not, there is no try. And kind of got to do something. Like, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
Like, do something.
That's right.
Right? If you're like, I'll try. It's like, no, just do it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Right.
But you don't know unless you do it.
That's right.
And
that was
it. That was the beginning.
Wow.
And I did it while I was still working at Ralph Lauren. I was really open and transparent with them because that was such an amazing job.
Yeah. And that's a big deal, though.
I had actually said to my dad, like, I think I want to start designing jewelry. And he was like, okay, but don't quit your job. You have a good job.
Well, also, when you start to design anything on the side or have like a side business while you're working at a fashion house, that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
To be very transparent about what you're doing.
Yeah, but I think also to your point, at any job, I think that there are most jobs will say to you, hey, we totally respect that you want to start your own thing. We can't have you working here at the same time.
Right.
So you go do you.
Were you you said you were transparent.
I was so open.
And they were okay with it.
Incredible. So I went down to more of like a consulting with them.
Ah, interesting.
And I still have the best relationship with them.
I love that.
Like all the people I worked with.
That's amazing.
Because of the transparency where I was like, listen, I really still want to help you, but I also want to start my own thing.
Yeah.
Is there a world we can marry the two?
That's amazing.
You know?
Yeah, that's amazing to have that opportunity. It's amazing for that moment. And I think you're right. And I think that's something that needs to be said for younger people as well as for women who are trying to make a change or trying to transition, right, into something else. What is it that you want to do?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that you want to do? Because I think the energy that you decide to put into something actually means something.
Yeah.
Right? I know for me, it was motherhood that shifted my whole perspective on what energy I wanted to put out there and into what, just because time was so important now.
Yeah.
And it wasn't something that was like this leisure thing that you could just blah, blah, blah. It was like, no, what I am using my time and energy towards actually matters.
Yep.
And so that was interesting for you. So when in this whole situation, you are dating Toby Maguire, you guys get married, and then Ruby's born.
No. So
there we go. Here we go.
I'm dating Toby, and Ruby was 9 months at our wedding. We eloped. We had always knew we wanted to be together. I think the day we started dating, I kind of lived there. I remember Toby bought this, like, I lived in my little apartment with my roommate still on Crescent Heights. It was so cute. Loved my apartment and started dating Toby. And he had just, his hard work was starting to really pay off. And he bought this great this great house on top of Doheny, this like bachelor pad. I remember going there for the first time and looking out. And I remember distinctly thinking, like, there's so many lights. It looks like a jewelry box. It's like glistening. And he
Back to jewelry.
Yeah. And he was redoing this house. And I think he was probably kind of excited to, like, be a bachelor and be successful and be in some like dope house for the first time in his life, not live in, a small little place. And I was like, oh, actually, I'm going to come live. I'm going to come live here with you. But yeah, so I think I moved in pretty quickly, and we were dating for maybe 3 years, got engaged, got pregnant, got married.
How was that though? How was it dating someone who is so forward facing to the public? At that time, Toby was like in his prime, right?
Yeah.
Like he was like,
He had just finished.
Right, what is it?
Yeah, he had just finished Spider-Man.
Like
1.
he was like Spider-Man. He was like everywhere. Like he was the shit, right?
Yeah.
How is it dating someone in that situation? I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. I could only because I think of it as you are such a strong, independent woman in your own right. And then to have your partner be so frontward facing that so much is coming at him constantly that you're seeing, now it's coming at you. How is that kind of, now the relationship is such in the spotlight?
I mean, yeah, nobody knew me, I was not like, I was not known, and he was really known at the time. I mean, he's still known, but at the time it was crazy.
Yeah.
And, there were a couple sides to it. Like on one hand, Toby's just the sweetest, kindest, like doesn't love being out there. He just loves like working hard and going home to his family. Like he's not I don't know what like words and actually,
like boisterous kind of like he's not that person.
He's not out there. He's not looking for publicity. He's not looking to get his picture taken. He's not looking for paparazzi. He's completely the opposite. He's like a little hermit like that. He's like a Cancer crab. He just like wants to stay away from
his
all
own
of that
environment.
in his own environment. But for me, so with him, it felt very sweet and normal, and he was always very protective of me. But when you go out in the world, there's a lot
people are not
people out there, and it was a lot for me at the time. I mean, listen, it's a great life, it's amazing.
I mean, it's a great life, but how old? You're what, 20?
I was 25 years old.
You're 25.
So I was young.
Like,
that's when my panic attacks started.
So that's what I'm saying. Like you talk about mental health, and you talk about all these things. I mean, listen, you talk about Britney, you talk about all these girls who are in the spotlight, all these guys who are in the spotlight, right?
Yeah.
At these young ages, there's so much pressure, and it's not the relationship themselves, it is everything else. It's the nasty of everything else that comes at you.
That's a whole other world.
That is like a
God
scary
bless
thing,
them.
right?
That is a whole other world. But I just think that, it is a beautiful life.
Yeah.
And we're super blessed and super lucky. And there's so many amazing things that come with that, but you're dealing with some really unhealthy people with a lot of mental stuff out there who think that, Toby is their husband, their boyfriend, and that I'm
You're right.
the devil.
That's right.
And
I didn't even think about that.
That kind of stuff is really, that's some
because when you think about
stuff.
it, you think of like privacy. You think of like, your privacy is like challenged, but you don't even think about like, I would never even have thought about that. You're thinking about people who are literally has severe mental health issues.
I remember one day somebody, this was like when people would write on blog type things, like again,
like the celebrity blogs were really popular.
And there was one day where someone was like, oh, I was just in Vegas and I saw Jen Meyer, and she was there with Toby, and she was had my exact outfit and exactly where I was, and I had a knife in my pocket, and it took everything for me not to put it in her stomach. And I was like, yeah, that's fucked up. I was like, that is fucked up. So little things like that where I was like, you don't get it. But then on the flip side, like that all sounds very dramatic, and like those were the most dramatic stuff. But like, I loved my life, and I still love my life. And we were really young when we got together, and it was a really.
You said that's when the panic attack started.
That is when the panic attack started. I had never had a panic attack before.
Wow.
And out of nowhere, I mean, when you start getting panic attacks, you think that you're having heart attacks.
Yes.
You think you're dying.
Yeah.
You don't know that you're just having anxiety.
Right.
So I started to figure out what my panic attacks were. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of years where I had really bad panic attacks, like really debilitating panic attacks.
And like, how would you combat them? How did you learn how to combat them, I should say?
You know, when they were happening for a few years, you would be driving down the street. It'd be a beautiful day out. Everything is perfect. Everybody's healthy. Life is going good. And then all of a sudden you're like, bam. And you're pulled over on the side of the road and you're like, heart is racing and you're sweating and you feel nauseous and you're just like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to die right here.
And it happens out of nowhere. There's no trigger. Yeah.
No, if it was, you know, the guy in the red suit, that'd be great.
Right.
You would know, like,
right.
okay,
or if it was someone flicked you off, or if it was like something, or you had a thought or whatever, like, but no, it's out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. Everything could be amazing and you all of a sudden cannot breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they were really bad for a lot of years. And I actually think that I had 4 panic attacks when I was pregnant with Ruby.
Wow.
And on my 4th one, it was such a bad one. Mm-hmm. And when I was I was in the middle of the street walking. I was in New York and I had to sit down on the sidewalk with people just walking past me.
Right, yeah.
And I couldn't move. And when I finally was able to like get up and go upstairs and like get into the bathroom, put water on my face. And I remember looking in the mirror being like, you're a mom. Mm-hmm. You were pregnant with your first child. Like, get your shit together. Figure this out. And something shifted in my head. It doesn't take away, all of a sudden you don't stop having panic attacks.
But your mindset on them changed.
You kind of realize when they're coming on and the things that you can do and need to do to manage the feeling.
Right.
Now, sometimes they're literally like 100-mile-per-hour wind.
Train wrecks.
You cannot
right.
control it.
Right.
But you also have to find a way to like, I think when I started getting really honest with myself and honest with my life and honest, like not feeling like I would be judged for expressing what I was going through in life or how I was feeling or the things that made me feel good or things that made me feel scared or sad.
And was this to people in your personal life or to yourself or to the public?
No, I don't. The public, whatever. Like yourself, you got to get real with yourself, number one.
You're damn right.
You know,
Yeah.
you really do.
Yeah.
And you got to really not judge yourself for being a human.
So this was just to yourself.
This is to myself, to get really like clear
Real.
with myself and like the things that I needed in my life. And then to get really open and honest with the people in my life, you know, being able to ask for help, ask for advice. And it's like, what was I worried about? If people were going to judge me? Okay, then you're not supposed to be in my life.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think it's also anything? I mean, I'm just like spitballing here, but as I listened to you,
Spitball.
You're the oldest child.
Yep.
Your father demands, you know, a work ethic and like, you know, a level of responsibility as he should on all his children, as I do on my kids.
Yeah.
But do you think that ever played a part in just the pressures and that those all got to you? Just also a really quick note. If you're loving this content, our podcast with all of our amazing guests, we love sharing their stories. It really is such a joy for us. Then you're going to love thecoolmom.co. Make sure to head over there. It is everything that you can think of lifestyle. So we have fashion, food, we have amazing interviews with a lot of other cool moms as well. So check out all of our Cool Mom Co features, shop our merch, do all the things. Check out thecoolmom.co. But do you think that ever played a part in just the pressures and that those all got to you?
No, I honestly think it would have been more pressure for me if my dad was like, good luck, figure it out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
oh, sure. What do you need here? It's like, I think that actually kids crave boundaries.
Yes, they do.
Kids crave, I think that shows love. I think that shows like, as busy as we are as parents, like when you're saying to your kids, no, These are the things you
Our
need to
rules,
do. These
yeah.
are our rules. They like that.
Yeah.
They need that.
Yeah.
And the times that I've been more lenient, now I am a lenient parent. Let me be clear. Like, I am a very easygoing parent, but if it's a free for all, they're miserable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They're
of course.
miserable.
Of course. You and Toby had a 16-year marriage. Is that right?
We were together for 14 years.
14 years. And then you decide that you're better friends than you
Yeah.
are as partners.
Yeah.
You decide to get divorced.
Yeah.
What does that feel like? And how were you guys able to take that step? Because that's a big step after that long of a marriage.
Yeah.
Especially in, I think, a place like Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Like they always say, you know, if you can get past a couple of years, you have a successful marriage. But to go 14 years, that's a long, long, long time.
Yeah, we were together a long time. You know what? I think we had realized, and you have 2 kids and a life together, and it seems really scary and hard to do that. And,
Yeah.
and I think that who wants to split your kids up, and who wants to say this Thanksgiving's yours, this Christmas is yours? Like, devastating.
Devastating.
And I think we also loved each other so much as friends. We really respected each other. And the way I grew up with everyone around me, like, divorce was ugly.
Yeah.
Divorce was an ugly word. Divorce was, you fucking hated each other. You were mad at each other. Like, you couldn't get along. Like 50-50 on the kids, and there's always an issue with money.
But
and
your parents are together, though. Yes?
No, my parents are divorced.
So you came from divorce.
So I came from divorce, and they had a pretty good divorce
Yeah.
considering, but
Right.
still, it was like one Christmas here, one Thanksgiving there.
Right.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And it's always the worst on the kids. And I think that we didn't know that you could actually do it in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
And when we decided, like, okay, it's time for us to make a move here, we didn't tell anyone for a really long time. We still lived together, like, didn't want to tell the kids. And then one day, just we had to. And
at this point, how old were the kids?
7 and 8 and 10.
Okay.
7 and 10. That's a bad day telling your kids.
Yeah.
That's a bad day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. That was the worst of it. That day was the worst.
Because they didn't see it coming.
No, that day was terrible. But other than that,
Yeah.
we really decided we're going to do the work together, Toby and I,
Yes.
to be an amazing team. And he is my best friend.
See, this is what I love, though, like, because I'm also from a product of divorce, but I was raised by a single mom. They divorced when I was pretty young, so I don't really remember my father in the household like that. And then from that point on, I never really had a relationship with my father. So for me, I don't think of divorce as like this nasty thing. I just think of it as like, okay, one disappears. You know what I mean? And like one just like goes bye-bye. You never see them again.
Yeah.
But I love it because I think you are probably one of maybe 5 or so women that I've had on the podcast who have talked about divorce, not in a negative way. They've talked about it as like, yes, obviously no one wants their marriage to end per se, but if that does happen and you realize that you and your spouse no longer are the best partners in that sense, that there is a way to have this beautiful relationship for the children. And I think it's so remarkable because it's not something that I've ever thought about either as divorce. So for you all to be able to have that as an example, it's pretty forward thinking. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
We are together every holiday. We travel together with the kids.
No way.
Everything. Where he's amazing. Him and my boyfriend love each other.
How does that work? Jen, for real. But how does that work? Give us the real. How do you decide that you don't want to live in the same house, be married with someone, but yet you're still able to travel and do holidays and all the things with your, and I'm giving quotations, best friend?
I don't know. I
that
hit
is your
the jackpot.
ex-husband.
I hit
so
the
wild.
Toby jackpot. Like he is, you know, it would be so sad for me to not have this person. Like, nothing ended negatively. There was nothing bad happened in the marriage. We always like loved each other, respected each other, took care of each other, had each other's back. Like, we created 2 children together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, these 2 people, Ruby and Otis, deserve both their parents. So
That's
it's
right.
like, I always say, it usually, why people are so angry at each other after their divorce or during a divorce is we as humans let our egos get in the way. And we can't help but, and this is normal for any of us, is no judgment, you know, and every day hasn't been easy. Like, you still have some days where you're like, God damn, this is not an easy day. But you figure it out because you're like, okay, do I not want to be with my kids on Thanksgiving?
Right.
Hell no.
Right.
I want to be with them. And so does he, you know? So it's like, if your ego is telling you, oh, they're dating somebody younger, they're dating someone more beautiful, they're dating somebody more successful, I wasn't good enough. But you know what? Fuck them. They did this. They did that. Like, we tell ourselves stories. But when one person decides, okay, you know what? I'm going to make this easy. I always say to my kids, you get more bees with honey.
That's right.
It's like, you just do. So it's like, the kinder you are, the kinder other people want to be. And that happens to be in a divorce too.
Wow.
You know, it's like, the nicer you are together, like, we had our whole, we grew up together.
Do you think it's also because you were raised in a family, and I know this about you guys are so close.
Yeah.
You and your siblings are so close. I mean, your family is just a really, like, you guys are a unit, you know? And I think that's remarkable too. Is it that also because you're kind of ingrained in that? Like, we're a unit. Even if we get divorced, this is still a unit that we have to maintain.
Yeah. I mean, I think my whole life, like, whenever my sister and I would fight, my dad would be like, stop fighting. You're going to be best friends your whole life. It's such a waste. And it was always that narrative over and over. And he was right. It's like, I always say that to my kids too. I'm like, you don't know what a gift a sibling is. Like, you are welcome. Thank me. Like, I just gave you your biggest gift ever.
Your
like,
biggest ally that you'll ever have.
Not everyone gets
That's
a sibling. So once you have a sibling, like, that person is with you longer than anyone else in your entire life.
Yes.
Make it work.
Make it work.
Like, you're an idiot not to be best friends.
I totally agree. I do the exact same thing. I'm like, hug it out.
Exactly.
And stay hugging until I tell you not to.
Right.
Like, 1000%.
Until you're laughing.
That's right. Until it's just like so uncomfortable that you're like, okay, seriously, you're really hugging now.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
You are raising teenagers.
Yeah. I am.
Ew. I'm not at that phase yet. I am like, my oldest is 12. And so
You're close.
I'm very close. What do I have to look forward to? What do I need to make sure that, like, I guess what about teenagers, this is what I'm scared about. It's the independence that they so crave and that they're so into. It is the influence from their peers and everyone else now. You are just over there, it feels like. And I don't know. It's just like the beginning to them, like, going off into, like, their lives. What, like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I don't even know what question to ask you, but give me something.
You know, I think that the more open you are with them, the more open they are with you.
Okay.
You know,
so communication is key.
Communication is key. I always say to my kids, like, if you tell me the truth, you're not going to get in trouble. If you lie to me about what's going on, if you lie to me about what happened, then we've got a problem.
Okay. So look, this is the thing. You said you were a laid back mom.
Yeah.
But you said that you had boundaries.
Yeah.
What are your absolute boundaries? Like, these are your non-negotiables.
I always said, once I gave them phones, for example, they put the code on their phone.
Yeah.
And I said, if this code ever changes on your phone's gone, disappeared. I need to be able to get into your phone 24/7 whenever I want, no questions asked.
Love that.
Like,
love that.
Period.
That's right.
The end.
Yep.
You don't download apps without asking me. You don't start accounts on things without asking me.
Even now to this day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they just don't do it now because it was from the beginning.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the way, I still have the codes to their phone. I never go in their phone.
Yeah.
But I could.
If you wanted to.
If I wanted to.
You could.
I can. I said until you're 18 years old. I was like, it's
And do you and Toby hold the same, like, boundaries and guidelines with the kids? Or do you guys kind of like, and how is that? Because you're not in the same house. So how is that?
You know, we just our communication's so good.
Okay.
So we just put each other on the same page.
Okay, good.
You
Okay,
know,
yeah.
I'm sure Toby thinks I'm too easygoing. I mean, fair enough. You know,
He's the disciplinarian one.
he's not even a disciplinarian. He's so easy too, but I'm sure he thinks that, like, you know, I
Yeah.
could put a harder line down here and there. But no, we just communicate about it.
So just on the same page, communication.
Yes.
Communication with him, communication with the kids.
Absolutely.
But
so
the
like,
phone is a non-starter. No
I get that
non-negotiable.
code no matter what.
Yes.
Until they're 18.
I love
and
that.
they've never changed it. And if they change it, that's it.
Yes.
Ruby, Otis, don't change your code.
I know. Please don't change your code. Please.
Your phone is
Look.
gone. But like, for example, I've never given them a curfew. They have
Wow.
no curfew. But
Okay.
but we're on this thing called Life 360.
Okay.
Every parent needs Life 360.
Okay.
It's an app. You can see where your kid is at all times.
This is through their phone.
Yep.
Okay.
It's an app. You both have it on your phone. You can see where your kid is, what time they got there, how many miles per hour they were going in the car. It's amazing. Life 360 has to always be on. And because I've never given them a curfew, they always want to be home. It's like this mind trick. And they're always at my house. Their friends are always at my house.
Yeah.
They ask me if they can go anywhere. They rarely sleep out. They always have 5 friends sleeping at the house. I'm like, great,
That's right.
happy.
Yes, that makes me happy too. You know, it's funny. I was driving Nima around to its bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah season.
Yep.
And so I was driving her around to her little, engagements or whatever this past weekend, and her friend. And so they were in the car and they were talking. And I thought, wow, this is the best thing I ever could have committed to this weekend, because I heard so many things.
Oh, yeah.
It was like,
Car time is
yes,
the best time.
I came home and told my husband, I said, I felt like I was on like a gossip show.
Yeah.
It was great because
Yeah.
I could learn so much information that I would have never heard from necessarily, like Nima would have never come home and been like, Mama, let me tell you, blah, blah.
That's like me in my kitchen with my
But
kids.
I love this.
Yeah.
I loved it. And so I love this idea of like having friends over to your house and like you know, being aware and like them coming over, blah, blah, because you probably get witness to so many things. You're probably witness to so many things that you never would have been witness to.
And the amount of times that I'm like, oh, wow, interesting. Tell me more. When really I want to be like, what?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? That is a da-da-da-da, you know,
right.
where I'm just like, no, wow, tell me. I'm so
Yeah.
curious.
What happened there?
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow. Well, what do you think, Mom? I don't know. I'm going to think about that one. That's interesting. Where like my reaction wants to be so out there. But yeah, teenagers, but it's like, it's kind of really fun.
Yeah.
Because you can hang out with them.
Yes.
You trust that they're all good.
Right.
You can do the same things when you go
Yeah.
on a trip or you go away. Like, it's easy.
This is the only thing I say. Only thing that I just hope I'm doing now is creating like communication and foundation where I feel like when they are out in the wild, when they are doing the things, whether Life 360 or whatever, that they're just making smart decisions.
Absolutely.
That's all I just want to do.
You know, somebody once said to me, and this is like when Ruby was 8 years old or something, somebody once said to me, they had read this whole book, blah, blah, blah. And they said, if you haven't talked to your kids by the time they're 9 about sex, somebody else has. And that to me was a really big moment.
Wow.
Because I was like, oh, wow. And they're like, and the moment sex gets brought up, it's a pivotal moment. Because if you don't tell them exactly what they're asking, they're never going to ask you again.
Wow. Because they feel like you weren't honest.
You get one shot. And I was like, okay.
Did you run home and go talk to Ruby?
It was so crazy. It's like the universe makes things happen. Ruby brought it up to me a couple weeks later in a
way.
really crazy way. I
Yeah.
mean, in a way where I was floored. And it took everything in my power not to be like, no, that's disgusting. Don't ever in your life. You know, and I was really clear about it, really blunt.
That's what they say. They say if you use medical terms, penis, vagina,
Yeah.
uterus, sperm, egg, all these like erection, you know, whatever it is, if you use like a lot of like, you know, very specific terms, how they're meant to be used,
Yep.
then it feels a little bit more scientific
Yeah.
and less like ooh,
Yeah.
like what is that? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's my take on it.
It's true.
When
You
I
just
had
gotta
to
be
talk, I
blunt.
was like, look, let me tell you something. The penis goes into the vagina and the this and that. And she was like, this is a fucking problem that we're having this conversation, Mom. And she was like, I'm not good with this.
Yeah.
Goodbye. She walked out of the room on me.
I think kids, they're so much smarter than we think
Yeah.
at times. And we obviously all think our kids are geniuses, but
course.
they get it. So the more you're open and honest
Yeah.
and blunt, the more they're going to tell you. Now they tell me, everything.
Too
And I
much.
love it. I love it. And also at the same time, I'm like, wow, I remember, Mom, I love you. But I remember when my mom tried to talk to me about it, I was like, you are a day late and $1 short. You know what I mean? Like,
Too far.
I know
We're
everything.
done this.
We're good. We're good.
Do you ever leave your kids and get on the phone with your girlfriends and are like, girl, let me just tell you what she said?
Of course. Every day. Every day.
Every day, right?
Oh, yeah.
I love
I'm
it.
really lucky because my best friend is Sarah Foster, and our kids are best friends.
Oh.
So, which is always like the dream.
That's
Your
the dream.
Best friends, you know, you always joke about it as you're growing up. Imagine our
Yes.
kids being best friends with their best friends. So it's like you can fill in the blanks.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Give each other that like extra info on either side.
I
so you're
love
not
that.
losing any info.
And wait, is her oldest a girl as well?
Yeah, no, her oldest is the same age as my son.
Okay,
so
okay.
my son and her daughter are best friends.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's really sweet. No, that is the dream.
Right,
Look
you
at
gotta
you.
stay really open with your
Look
friends.
at you.
Really open, honest, and not be scared to like tell the truth.
Yeah, that's true. Not to be scared.
It
to
also
tell the
goes
truth.
into like no judgment, no mom shaming, no because one kid is like this, that means like you've done a bad job parenting. Like,
Yeah.
I think we all have to give each other a little
grace.
slack. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think we all have to give each other a little grace, and we all have to give ourselves grace.
Yes.
Because there's no handbook for this, so we're all figuring it out as we go.
I say to my daughter Ruby, I'm always like, this is the first time I've done this.
This is the first time.
The
I know
first time.
exactly.
I've never been a mom before
Exactly.
you, so
that's right. Just as this is your first time.
Yeah,
This is my first time. I know. I tell my daughter that too, and I always apologize. I'm like, I know that I'm probably doing something wrong, and I apologize. But you know what? We're gonna figure this out together, and that's it.
Nice.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. All right, Jen. Let me ask so everyone knows where to get the beautiful collection of jewelry, where to get all the things. You are very talented.
Thank you.
You've obviously been doing this for a long time. And I think I just saw on your Instagram the other day, like you behind the scenes, like doing something or whatever for your jewelry line. And this is your passion, and you can
Yeah.
tell. And you're really, you're very intentional about it, and you're very focused on it, and you are really good at it.
Thank
and
you.
people love wearing your shit.
Thank you.
They just do. So where can everybody go?
I mean, I have my store in Pacific Palisades, which I love. And then I do, it's jennifermeyer.com. And I love making my jewelry.
It's the
and
hoops for me. It's like your
Thank
hoops.
you.
It's the hoops for me.
Thank you.
I'm a hoops girl.
I love a hoop.
I love a hoop. I
love
am
a
like
hoop.
into a hoop all day, every day.
I'm with you.
And I love a big, good hoop.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with
You
the big
cannot go
gold
wrong.
hoop.
What is your favorite piece of jewelry?
I would say my good luck necklace is one of my favorite pieces.
Do you wear it every day?
I wear it every day. And you don't understand. People take things off my neck all the time.
Meaning like your children. Who?
No.
Friends.
Friends, children.
Because they think you have multiples of them. They
I
think,
don't have
you can
multiples
get-
of anything.
They think you can get another
FYI. But you know what? There's certain things, certain pieces that I design like have a lot of meaning towards them, like a lot of good luck, love, protection, manifest,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So I kind of think when someone's going through a moment and they need something,
Oh, I
you
love
can let them
that. You
use
let it
it,
go.
borrow it, have it,
So you're good luck when you let someone borrow.
Yeah, I let somebody borrow that this weekend. So
Oh.
hopefully it's bringing them a lot of good luck right now.
And are they going to bring it back?
We'll see. I would
Okay.
think so.
I hope so.
Bring
I
it
wear
back.
this one every day. This was my mom's.
Oh,
And I wear it every single day.
it's all about meaning.
And it's all about meaning for me. It
Yeah.
really is. I think when people give you a piece of jewelry, when you have something handed down, you're right. There is like a feeling behind it.
Yeah.
It's almost sometimes less about what it looks like and just more about what does it make you feel
But
like.
the good luck necklace I've been wearing, I mean, I don't take it off for 15 years.
Wow.
And I know a lot of stories behind it of people being like, this necklace, like, I do not take this off. This brought me this brought me that. My husband, my baby, my job, like all these things, you know?
What inspires you?
In just life or design?
Both.
Or what inspires me? Well, I mean, listen, my kids inspire me. I know that's cliche,
It's
whatever.
not. It's really not. It's really
I
not.
think kindness inspires me
I love that.
a lot. I think that people really wanting to sort of help each other. And you said earlier, like, give yourself grace, but people giving other people grace. I think we're all so quick to judge other people, talk about what somebody else is going through, talk about how somebody else did something wrong, or can you believe this, or can you believe that? And we never kind of take the time to really think about what is that person going through for themselves. Like, I think we all know we're trying to some days just make it through the day.
You ain't lied, girl.
And
you ain't never lied.
Days can be really challenging and really hard, no matter how good it looks from the outside.
That's right.
You know, no matter what you have or don't have. I remember there was a couple years ago, I was having a bad week, and I was just really at my lowest, and I was being driven somewhere, and I was in some big fancy black Escalade in the back seat being driven, and I had my hair, my makeup done, everything, whatever. And I was broken inside. From the outside, it looked great. Gorgeous, amazing, fancy. And I was broken, and we were in bumper to bumper traffic, and it was a hot day, and my window was all the way down, and there was a woman next to me, and she was in a tiny little beat up little car, and she was playing Lizzo, and she was singing and dancing in that car with like every inch of her soul, just like belting it out and going and having, she looked, I've never seen such happiness.
Yes.
And I was this close to her in the car, right up window to window, and I was staring like this. Like, now I was staring with like, I was so envious of this woman and her happiness.
Her joy.
Her joy. And she looked at me. She like caught my eye. She's like, what? Like, because the way I was staring was probably pretty fucking rude.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was just staring at her. She's like, what? And I said to her through the windows, I said, honestly, I said, I'm broken. I am so miserable right now. And I am staring at you, just looking at how happy and how everything looks so amazing for you. And it's bringing me such joy today.
Wow.
Seeing your happiness. And I'm so sorry I'm staring, but like your happiness is bringing me joy and I needed it. And she looked at me, she's like, girl, some days you just have to take that shit, you gotta slam it on the ground, you gotta break it apart to build it back up. You're gonna be great. And then she drove away, and I want to be like, whoa, come back.
Give me
come
more.
Back.
Hold on, I need more.
Do something for me.
Yes.
You know, but it was that moment of just like, you know what? We all got to give each other space. Like everyone is going through something, no matter how it looks from the outside.
Yeah.
You just have to be kind. So kindness inspires me.
You know what? That's such a beautiful story. And it reminds me, a word that I've really been really into lately is empathy.
Yeah.
Just empathy.
Yep.
Having empathy, giving empathy, feeling empathy, just all the things empathy.
Yeah.
But Jen, you got this. Go, girl, go.
It's so sweet.
I love that. I love that. Jen Meyer, thank you for coming on the Cool Mom Code podcast. I couldn't have asked for a better, more open, more honest conversation. And you know what? Now I can finally say that I know you.
Yeah. Maybe you know me better than Sarah and Carson.
I think I do. I think I do.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.